Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have tuned in to another series of experience, strength, and hope. I hope something that I say today inspires you. I hope something, if I have guests on here, I have friends on here, loved ones, let them inspire you to tell your story of experience, strength, and hope. I always say that everyone has a story to tell, so please get in touch with me and tell your story. You can reach me at 785-307-4662. If I don't answer, leave a message. That's my experience, strength, and hope line. Or you can email me at bigdog0862@gmail.com. Don't feel ashamed to say, hey, I don't want to tell my story, or I don't want to do this, or I feel like you bothering me by telling me, why should I call him? Tell your story. You don't know who you can help in the long run. So stay tuned for something that will inspire you in the future, if not today. Thank you. I'm Tony the Mayor. Thank you very much. All right, we're getting ready to rumble here. Getting ready to get started. This is Tony the Mayor, as you may know me, and this is Experience, Strength, and Hope podcast. This is my podcast of experience, strength, and hope. I hope that you get something out of it through the experience that I have and the strength that I'm gaining daily, and the people that listen that gain, and people who have listened in the past to different podcasts that I've done and really have received something out of it. I've been out of the loop for a little bit. I did a little small preview of something last week, and that was just a little short something I did. It was only a few minutes. Hopefully this won't be even that long either. I want to title this as The Day I Found Out That I Have Cancer. Some people say had cancer. Some people say been diagnosed with cancer. I'm saying I have cancer because that's what the doctors told me, and I'm not lacking in faith by saying that I shouldn't say I have cancer, because I'm accepting what they say. Now I want to accept what they say so I will know what to say to God. And so I will know what the people, I want my prayer team, of those in the prayer wheel, to pray for, you know. So it's not nothing in lacking faith in saying that, but the day that I found out that I have cancer, I pretty much, you can say that I stay on top of all of my doctor's appointments. I am faithfully in getting my yearly checkups, my 6 months checkup now, and going to the dentist. Anything that I know that is preventive medicine that I can do, then I'm going to do it. From blood pressure to diabetes, if you have it, to heart disease, whatever it is, just to stay on top of it. I had my 6 months checkup back in June, July, something like that. June or July. I want to say July. But anyway, I did all my checkup. I seemed to be fine. The doctor told me I was feeling good. I'm looking good, you know. I'm feeling 100 when I left the doctor's office, but she said, hey, you haven't done labs. I wanted you to do labs before you came here, and you haven't. So I need you to do labs here in a couple of days, you know. She gave me the report, and I did the labs, you know. And a lot of times you can read them, especially depending on who you're using for your labs, but you can read the report under your patient portal or Mark charts or something like that ahead of time. So I looked in there, and I didn't see, the main thing that I was looking for was my cholesterol, to make sure that was still under grips and everything like that I had that right. I failed to focus on the PSA. Even though I seen the PSA, I didn't pay much attention to it. And so when the doctor called me and she said, hey, I need you to make an appointment with the urologist because your PSAs have jumped, almost doubled in 6 months to a year. And at that time, I thought nothing of it. Hey, let me go get this checked out. It's nothing big. I go make an appointment with the urologist and see what's going on. So I made the appointment with the urologist. And when I made the appointment, they set up a biopsy. They said, we want to do a biopsy of your prostate because your PSA levels are really high. And I've always dealt with enlarged prostate. I can't take Flomax because it drops my blood pressure, which it does in a lot of people. And so I've dealt with the fact of them telling me, well, you have a larger prostate and this and that. So they made me an appointment for the biopsy. And my wife went with me. Thank God I have a wife that supports me and prays with me, prays for me, prays when I'm not praying, you know. And I can be honest with you, I really wasn't too much concerned about what the outcome would be at that time. You know, I just thought I'd do a biopsy. They'll tell me, hey, there's nothing wrong. Quit doing this or quit doing that or something like that. I thought it would just be something easy. So I went and I did the biopsy. Man, I wish that on none of my brothers, none of the men that I know. I just don't. I think you should be asleep for that. You know, after about the fourth or fifth pop, that's what it sounds like almost. But after the fourth or fifth time, you think you're going to get used to it, you know, even though they tell you this is what it's going to sound like, and I'm going to try to explain to you what it's going to feel like. They could not explain to me what it was going to feel like. No, I didn't think it was going to feel like that. It was very painful to me. Some guys may say, hey, it's nothing. It was easy for me and stuff like that. Maybe I'll leave that alone. But anyway, it hurt. I remember coming back home, and all I did was want to sleep. And you know, they tell you these things that you're going to experience afterwards, you know, and I'm going to be straight up and open with you, just like the people have been straight up and open with me that I've talked to. But they tell you may have blood in your urine, blood in your semen, blood in your stool for a few days or a week or maybe 2 weeks after this and stuff. So, I mean, I came home, I was in pain. I mean, real pain. I thought I was going to ride in the car and run around town with my wife and hit a few shopping places up. And I was like, nope, I need to go home. And I'll tell you, I went home and I laid down that evening. I think it was about 4 or 5. And I didn't get up till the next day. I got up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, and that's when I said, oh, what they said is real. But I felt a little bit better there, but the next morning I felt I was at about 85%, and I went to work. And so the day that I found out, August the 30th, the doctor called me. August the 30th. I didn't go to work that day because my wife and I had planned to take that day off. Anyway, the exam was on, the biopsy was on like a Thursday. I think it was on a Thursday. That Monday morning, before we got ready to go to Kansas City, that day before we went to Kansas City for her to take care of some business, and she was going to see one of her friends also, and I was going to stop by and see one of my buddies too. The doctor called us at 7:30 that morning on August the 30th. And he said, hey, well, Mr. Timms, you do have cancer. And he told me where and how. They use the Gleason score to try to tell you where you fall within. Not like a stage 1 or you got stage 4, stage this. But they use the Gleason score, which goes from 2 to 10. 10 being the highest. 8 to 10 being an area of really concern that this is a serious problem that it may have grown outside the prostate. I was at an 8. He told me where I was, and he told me I was at an 8. And he told me, he said, hey, we need to make arrangement for you to come in and we discuss this. And so we did. We made an appointment, but to come in, I think it was later that week. No, it was 2 days later. And my wife went with me again. But that day, the day I found out, I felt like it was a dream. One thing, and I don't care what kind of cancer it is, you don't want to hear anybody say the word cancer to you. I never, like I told my mom, never in 1,000 years would I have ever thought somebody would tell me I had cancer. Well, I hadn't dealt with cancer that much in our family, not that I know of, but I know I was not expecting that in 1,000 years for someone to ever call me and tell me. I thought, hey, Mr. Timms, your blood pressure is off the chart. Mr. Timms, you have pre-diabetes. Mr. Timms, you have the... Never in 1,000 years was I expecting someone, a doctor, to tell me, Mr. Timms, you have cancer. So what they did, they set up another appointment for them to come in so they can explain to me where I was in the cancer. And that Gleason score of 8, I didn't know that then. I didn't know anything about what the Gleason score was. All I knew is that he told me I had prostate cancer. And I went to Kansas City with my wife. And I was all right. That whole day, I was at a friend's house. She did her friend's hair. I went to visit one of my good friends. Went over his house, stayed over there and talked with him for a while. And took the long way back to the... where her friend lives, just to be out a little bit. But I'm going to tell you something. This kept on going through my mind. I kept rehearsing the words, Mr. Timms, you have cancer. Almost like you see in the movies or cartoons. In slow motion, I was hearing it. Mr. Timms, you have cancer. So we spent that day there. Everything seemed to be fine, even though I kept rehearsing over and over in my mind. And my wife was driving. She loves to drive, so she drove Kansas City and back, and I was in the passenger seat. And it kept going through my mind. I kept thinking, where am I at with this? I have a long time, I have a short time. Is it curable? Is it able to be taken care of easy? What do I have to do? Do I just sit back and watch it? Is it not that serious? What do I do? And it began to bother me so bad. I was sitting there, and I'm going to be just straightforward with you because everyone I've talked to have been straightforward with me. I broke down. And I cried like a baby, maybe like a big baby, because it hit me. And all I can remember is my wife putting her hand on my shoulder while she was driving. And the word she says, hey, Tony, don't worry, we got this. We got this. We got it. That didn't stop the tears, but that really gave me something to think about. Is that no matter where we are in this thing, we got this. And when she said we, she didn't say you got this. She said we got this, let me know that we're a team. It's a team. We're going to fight this together. So I have been back to the doctor. Matter of fact, it was that 2 days later, pulled out a big, you have a big easel pass with paper on it. He tore a piece of paper off, big, huge, 3 by 2 feet piece of paper, and he started drawing. He drew this, he drew the prostate, then he drew what the Gleason scale was, and he told me where I fell on the Gleason scale. He said, between 2 and 10 is what we work off of to see if it's where you fall at on the Gleason scale, and you fall at an 8. You're in that 8 to 10 area. You fall at an 8, which is serious that it may have grown outside the prostate. And he told me which area. You had a 6 here, a 8. I'm sorry. You have a 3 and a 3 here. You have a 4 and 4 here, and you have all these scores in all the different places where he found cancer in the prostate. Well, that was another big blow to find out. My expectation was that this is not that serious, but he let me know straightforward how serious it is. And people tell you, oh, prostate cancer, man, you can get rid of that. That's very easy. That's one of the easiest. I ain't never heard of some out of easy cancer. Just because it's easy from what you heard, it's detectable real early in men, but it also is it's the highest rate of cancer that men get. New cancer cases. Highest rate of cancer men get is prostate cancer. That means it's above lung cancer, colon cancer, all those other kind of cancer. Kidney, it's above those in the amount that men get it. So that shows you where we fall. And if more men are getting it, it shows that more men could die of it. Lung cancer is the number one cancer that causes death in males. Prostate cancer is number 2. So you can tell me I have the easy cancer, good cancer. I said the other day, somebody told me I had a good cancer. I said, what kind of mess is that? You don't tell nobody a good cancer. I said, have you ever heard somebody say, oh, you got the good, and this is what I said, you got the good STD. You just got syphilis. You ain't got herpes. You don't tell nobody that. So you don't tell nobody that you got a good cancer. Oh, it's going to be easy going. And every brother that I've talked to have told me, people have told them these things. And sometimes it's out of ignorance. People just don't know, or they going off of what they heard and everything, because they say, he beat prostate cancer. I know a lot of people that beat it, but you don't know the battle or the journey. You don't know some of the things that they had to get to survive. You don't know that. And I'm reading and I'm studying and I'm looking through and I'm trying to find out where I fall in and all this. And the more you read, sometimes the more you get upset. So sometimes you just got to stop. You know what I'm saying? You just got to stop the reading, sit back and talk to God. And some of the reason they tell you it's the good cancer, because they say, a lot of men use they go through radiation and different things, and with the radiation comes hormone therapy and different things, so they tell you it's a good cancer because I'm figuring all you got to do, all they do is take your prostate, and it's easy for a woman to tell you this. It's simple. They just can take your prostate out and you without it, and hopefully it hadn't spread anywhere else, and you won't be detectable for years, You may never be detected before after they take your... Who wants their prostate taken out? That's like telling a woman, it's easy. This is just a small little thing. It's just easy. It's just a hysterectomy. It's a small thing, No, it's major surgery. Prostate surgery is major surgery. And any of you who have said it was easy thing to recover from, read up on it. The more I read up on it, the more I find out that I don't take this lightly. And the more I talk to some of my brothers who have went through it, and they have been 100% honest with me. Some of the brothers that I talked to, one of them brothers told me, I'm going to just give it to you straight and real and let you know what you're going to go through. And that's what I want. I don't want nobody beating around the bush and telling me what didn't happen. But it did, but they trying to hide it from me. No, give me straightforward to give me the truth. I would want to know that, just like the doctors may try to, the doctors may tell you, just like the doctors tell you the truth, get it straightforward and the truth from someone. Don't beat around the bush, brother, when you give it anything like that to one of our fellow men that, has to do with health or anything like that. Don't downplay it. But I, went ahead and started researching on what they did, and then they said, hey, we want to do a few things. We want to set you up to talk to a few different doctors that, so we can decide on which way to go, if it's robotics, radiation, chemotherapy, hormone therapy, and all this. And then so he said, but we have to do one thing first. We want to do a CT scan of your pelvis and make sure it hasn't spread, or we don't see where it has spread outside the prostate. But we also want to do a bone scan from head to toe, just to make sure it hasn't spread, because prostate cancer has a tendency to spread through the bones, from what I'm told. I'm not a doctor. I'm just going off of what somebody told me. And it can spread through the bones. And we want to make sure that it hasn't, in your case. And when it has spread through the bones, that's serious. They don't say you have bone cancer. The main cause of it is prostate cancer. You have prostate cancer. That's what causes the spread. It doesn't change into another type of cancer if it spreads anywhere in the body. And that I learned from the doctor. So I went in and I did the CT scan and then the bone scan. And, both of them we had. My wife was with me again. We went there, did the CT scan, and they gave me them put the injection in you. So when they do the scan, it'll show up if it's anything there. So they did that. And I left, and you have to come back 3 hours later. Came back 3 hours later, did that scan. I'm laying there, and I fell asleep. That's how relaxed I was at that point. And when they finished, the guy walked up to me, and he said, okay, I was getting up, getting my stuff back on. He said, we see a little something. Now, he's not the doctor. Your doctor's going to read it a little hard. He's not the doctor that's going to be reading it. But he said, have you ever broken your arm up there? You broke your arm before? I said, I've never broken a bone in my life. He said, well, there's something there that we're going to take a closer look at and have the doctor contact you. So from that, they're saying that it may have spread outside of the prostate, maybe to the bones, to the blood, to the marrow in the bone. There's something there. He said, have you injured it? You got, and I know my shoulder, and at the time I said, no, I can't remember it hurt, but my shoulder has been hurting. Not my shoulders, also, it's on the upper part of my arm. It has been hurting for years. I can remember after I lost weight going to the gym, and I always would have pain on that side when I would be lifting or doing anything, strenuous on that side. But then I got used to it over the years. So when he asked me, I said, oh, no, I can't remember. Then I started to think about it. I tell you, not just think about it. I was at home, laying in the bed, and I went to lift my water bottle off the dresser, and I said, oh, I do have pain in my shoulder. And, the devil started playing in your mind again. Like, oh, well, yeah, you got it. Something's wrong. Well, I called him back, and I said, yeah, I have had pain there, but I've never broken my arm. Never really had an injury to that shoulder. My other shoulder, I had a rotator cuff surgery in the shoulder, but in the arm or anything, never nothing. So they said, well, we got to arrange for something more. We want to do an MRI now of that shoulder, and just to make sure. And the doctors, this is their favorite phrase. We don't think it's nothing, but we got to make sure, And so just to let you know, I did the MRI the other day, and right before I got ready to do this podcast, I'm in the basement getting ready to do it now, but right before I got ready to do this podcast, the nurse called me. She said, Mr. Timms, we do see something on that shoulder. And I can't think of the word that she used, but she said, we see something, and now we have to do a closer scan of that. And they do a CT scan to pinpoint exactly where that is and do a biopsy there. And I said, well, wow. I said, well, what does it look like? What do you think it is? She said, well, I'm the nurse. I want the doctor to discuss that with you. And I said, why not? This just come to me right before I got ready to do this podcast. Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe just to motivate me to pray even harder. But I'm going to keep you guys updated on this. And the reason why is that I wish I'm not glorifying the cancer or anything, but I'm giving you this information because I want you on this journey with me, and I want you praying with me. I want you fasting with me. I want you just agreeing, encouraging me. I like the encouragement and everything. It helps me. I'm not going to turn anybody away and say, hey, you can beat that. I like all my brothers who have been through this and told me, hey, man, I had it and this and that, and you can do this. My own pastor, I think he said he had cancer 3 times, and one time it was prostate cancer. But he encouraged me and told me about this and that, and I love to hear success stories. And I also love to hear them when they tell me, you're going to have to wear this. You're going to have this. This is what's going to happen after surgery. That's going to happen. Because I want to know. I want to be expecting. I don't want anything to be a surprise. I've been through surgery a few times for different things, but this is major. These type of things, the word cancer calls you to think. But as my wife has said, we got this. And I'll be mentioning that every time I tell my story of experience, strength, and hope, that we, and when I say we, I'm talking about you too, anyone on my prayer team, anyone on my support team that just know me and love me. If you don't love me, pray for me. If you don't like me, pray for me. But anyone that's there, I accept it because we got this. Well, here we are again at the end of another episode of Experience, Strength, and Hope. I thank you for listening, and I appreciate you taking time out just to tune in and just to hear what the guests may have to say or what I may have to say. I appreciate every person that listens. You can reach me at bigdog0862@gmail.com or at 785-307-4662 to tell your story or to leave a comment or anything. Make sure you tune in. You leave a message on YouTube, like it, follow me, download the podcast, do those things so I'll see if you've been there, and it helps me along the way, and it helps me make better decisions on what I have to do or what I want to do. So yeah, please leave me a message there on YouTube or on anchor.fm, and you can just type in Antonio Timms in a search engine. You can just go to a search and type in Tony the Mayor Timms, and you can find me that way. So I appreciate you once again for tuning in, and you have a good day.